Hello and welcome to the Food in the Capital Webite series. Today we have the pleasure of talking to Fiona Buining. Fiona is the founder of Ainslie Urban Farm and grows microgreens in a greenhouse at her property in the inner north suburb of Ainslie. Fiona has been managing the Microgreens College kitchen garden and teaching sustainability for the past 8 years. This is a teaching garden that grows seasonal vegetables using organic growing methods to supply the school canteen and restaurant. You've certainly got a lot going on there, Fiona, so thanks for taking the time out to join us today. Welcome.
It's a pleasure.
Would you like to tell us a little bit more about what you do at Ainslie Urban Farm and perhaps how this has changed over the past few months due to COVID-19?
Sure. So our property is in Ainslie on a 1/4 acre block. And in 2016, we set up the business, Ainslie Urban Farm. I had previously been growing microgreens at Microgreens College as a fundraiser for the school, and that was very successful. It actually got too big for school, which is why I moved it to home. So my husband and I built a greenhouse in our backyard, and it's just grown from there. And so last year we actually built a second greenhouse. So before COVID, I was supplying up to 25 restaurants a week with microgreens that are grown in the greenhouse in my backyard. With COVID, sales did plummet, as they did for my people over the 2-week period. So I was able to sell quite a bit of microgreen product from a garden stall in my front yard here at Ainslie. Yeah. And I also started growing seedlings. So I sold seedlings, vegetable seedlings to the public.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
Yeah, so it's been, you know, obviously it's difficult to make changes, but we're all in the same boat.
We are. And it's been really inspirational to see these people just take their business in one direction, the next day in another, and make a real go of it, trying to adapt to a strange new world.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very satisfying that people are supporting each other, and it's a very supportive community. I think everyone in small business in Canberra does feel that we're very well connected and support each other, and I think Canberrans are very good at supporting local business as well.
That's great to hear. And has this impacted your future plans for the urban farm? Do you think you're still taking the same direction that you were going to, say, 6 months ago, or you're going to keep doing the next approach?
I don't think I'm pretty enthusiastic, so it certainly hasn't killed my enthusiasm for growing things. So I'm really keen. The microgreen business is back up and running, and every week it grows a little bit more. And in fact, I've picked up 3 new customers since COVID, which is fantastic. Good.
Yeah.
So the microgreen business is going well. I plan to continue growing seedlings. I finished in June. I sold onion seedlings in June, and I'll be selling seedlings in spring as well. And I'm always on the eye out for other things, and I have a very strong interest in urban food growing and training our next generation of urban farmers. So that's a project that I'm hoping to get off the ground in the next couple of years.
Sounds great. Well, what do you see as part of your business, your urban farm, as the economic benefits to an individual or a community?
Okay, so the benefits obviously are to the small business owner. So myself, there are clear economic benefits. Yep. However, the benefits spread out across Canberra because I buy supplies from other small businesses, many of whom are in Canberra and in the region. Certainly, I do buy things from Victoria and New South Wales as well, but basically all my supplies come from Australia. Mm-hmm. So it's all very connected. I think also through social media, people get to publicise who their suppliers are and who's dealing with who. And so, for example, people who look on my Instagram page see the restaurants that I supply, and so then they may encourage them to kind of eat more at local restaurants. So it all kind of goes around in the way we support each other. So there are those economic benefits, and obviously there are other huge benefits to running a small business and huge benefits to being involved with growing plants.
Yeah.
So,
and what about those? I mean, they're obviously not number driven, like physical and mental health associated with growing something, or any social demographic inclusion you think can benefit from your type of business?
Definitely. So there have been proven mental health benefits to being connected with the soil and growing food. Like there was a study I read about a few years ago that physically having your hands contacting the soil actually releases dopamine and serotonin, which are neurotransmitters that make you feel happy. So there's actually a connection between gardening and happiness, which is really awesome. As a teacher, teaching teenage girls how to grow food, I've definitely experienced that. The students themselves talk about the mental health benefits of being in the garden and that they feel happy being out there. And I've taught students from a wide range of backgrounds. So I've taught highly kind of gifted academic students. I've taught students with a range of disabilities. I've taught Indigenous students in the garden, and they all kind of experience those same benefits. Certainly, I've spoken with Shane Rattenbury about how there could perhaps be more growing of food at the Alexander McConaughey Centre. So, you know, there's so much potential for getting groups in Canberra involved in not just kind of recreational, but actually serious scale like food growing. Because one of the things I've noticed with my students when we have our tomato sale each year and the students grow tomato plants from seed and then sell the plants to the public, they're actually getting that incredible sense of reward and recognition that someone will pay for something they grew. So I think the benefit in having economic small-scale urban farms are that people get that level of satisfaction as well, that people will actually pay for what they've grown.
That's amazing, Fiona. And do you see any roadblocks in achieving that dream of yours? You know, perhaps any government or regulatory issues, skills, you know, perhaps they just aren't quite there in your field?
I think it's pretty well recognised that the two roadblocks to urban farming are access to land and skills. So I think there's potential to have small-scale urban farming on public and private land. And I would love to set up a hub that taught people the skills they need to grow food, that employed people and then mentored them to perhaps set up their own food-related business.
And would that be your ideal future in food production, something like that, a vision like that? Or is there something else perhaps that you'd like to see more or less of?
I'd really love to see that happening in Canberra. There's so much land when you drive around. There is literally so much space. If you go, we're thinking of between 1/4 acre and 2 acre. There are plenty of allotments around Canberra, private and publicly owned land, that could be used for food growing. There's some amazing examples around the world. So in Vancouver, there's a farm called Street Farms. They produce 25 tonnes of food a year across 4 different sites. Total land area 5 acres. They also have North America's largest urban orchard. So there's plenty of models that we can kind of go and look at to learn from and use as a basis for setting something up in Canberra. And Canberra could be self-sufficient for food. And I know there's a similar project, well, there's a project just starting to get off the ground in Brisbane, actually, looking to get urban food production happening across the city there.
Right. I think Canberra, we have that real opportunity with our amount of green space, our relatively small size. We have all the makings there to really have a go at it and make a real difference.
We really do. Yeah, we're really blessed. You know, plenty of sunshine.
Yeah.
We've got the land. It's easy to get around to deliver things. Yeah.
It's all there. All the pieces are there.
They are.
And what is a piece of advice from all your experience in growing and your visions what is the one piece of advice that you would like to give to create a sustainable food city, or perhaps one thing that you would like to see changed right now?
Well, from a big picture point of view, I'd love to see food production happening on private and public land.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like a skills training centre to train people how to do that, so that it could be happening in people's backyards just to support themselves. It could be happening as a business. It could be happening in a big public space to engage all kinds of different groups in society who would benefit from being engaged in food growing. And then at the micro level, I'd just say, just grow plants.
Yeah.
They use carbon dioxide. They're awesome. Just start plants.
Yeah. And I think everyone showed a real keen interest at doing that. You know, you couldn't even get your hands on packets of seeds a little while back there. So people are shifting and showing that interest. So I think, sort of strike while the iron's hot, and get in there and try and encourage that, teach them more skills so they can improve their skills and pass it on as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. It'd be great.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Fiona, and sharing your story with us. We look forward to seeing what you're doing next for Ainslie Urban Farm and working with you to create a sustainable food city here in Canberra.
Great. Thanks so much, Laura.
Thanks, Fiona. Bye.
Bye.